Welcome to South Harmon. Welcome to South Harmon. Hey, welcome to South Harmon. We glad you here today. Another AMA. Ask me anything. Super chat is cool if you wanna pay to play. Like and subscribe, that's what we really appreciate. Let me introduce you to the tear down king. Mike McNutty, ask your questions, he'll answer anything. ATM, you know Adam, put them graphics on the screen. Glad you tapped in now, stay tapped in for the team. Hey, everything is posted. Go follow the socials. South Harmon FF tag us if we get noticed. Welcome to South Harmon, we glad you here today. Welcome to South Harmon, we glad you here today. Another AMA. Welcome to South Harmon, we glad you here today.
What up? What up? What up? What's good? What's good? What's poppin', man? What's up with you, Koopa? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Excited to be here on a Fizzle Friday.
That's it.
Usually my Fridays I'm busy, but this one I was open and we were like, we got to do it.
My man.
Got to get me on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I've been looking forward to it, man. I told my boy earlier, man, we don't do too much data, man. We try to minimize the brain cells as much as we can on this show, man. But tonight we're gonna get in a little bit of that data, man. So I'm glad everybody here tonight. See what we got going on tonight, Coop. Let's see, Jake. What's up, Jake? How y'all feeling, man? Jake is here. See, we got Christian up in here. Well, I go down the list of the people, man. How you feeling though, Koopa? How was your week, bro?
Week was good. I told you earlier, finished work for the week, then went and did a wine tasting. Ended up buying a wine from the wine tasting I did.
Oh yeah.
And came back home, cooked dinner, and then cracked open a bottle. It wasn't one I tasted today, but anyone that's interested, that's what I'm drinking tonight.
Oh
so, yeah. Good old French wine.
Hey, you could have drunk it out. You could have drunk it out the bottle though, Coop. We don't mind it over here, man.
Oh well, I've got all the fancy stuff. So I've got my fancy wine glass. A lot of people don't know. So this is an aerator. So you can pour the wine through this, and it will aerate it for you. So you don't need to do the super fancy spin the wine glass around 50 million times.
Yeah, I seen something that you put it. I guess it's like it fits in like where the cork goes, and it makes it cold when it comes out. It was something that I saw online. I don't know if it's already cold. You got to freeze it or whatever it is, but it's like an extension you put on there.
I know there's stuff like that. Yeah, because it goes into the middle of the bottle, helps cool it down really quick.
Yeah,
This one you don't want that cold actually. So some of your wines you want to have down in like the 40-degree range. Those are usually going to be like your whites or your dessert wines or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
This one you probably only want cooled down to like 55, 60.
Hey,
so
cool.
It's a little cooler.
There you go, bro. You bringing the data right there, man. I don't be knowing the temperature on my drinks, man. I just pull it up. You know what I'm saying, Cool? I don't know nothing about what I be doing, man. I just be freestyling it. 1 or 2 ice cubes here and there. That's about it for me, man. I don't know what temperature is on, bro. So it's all hot when you drink it, man. Your chest hairs get the burning. So as cold as it is, it don't matter how cold it is, man.
Yep.
Damn. Everything burning, man. So
yeah, it'll help keep you warm on a cold day. That's for sure.
100%, bro. 100% cold wear. That's what I'm saying, right, bro? Sipping on that Henny on that ice, yeah, bro. Keep that ice, man. Keep that ice, man. Summertime, you can't drink no alcohol. Summertime with no ice, bro. I don't know what you got going on, man.
That's dangerous.
No good. No good, right? Let me see what we got going on, man. Let me holler at the people right quick. Rob Sam, what's up, bro? Appreciate it. DB. Let me see. Cold World. What we got up in here? Dynasty. Now, what's up, bro? Appreciate you, man. I see Jake. Jake done got his question in here early. I see Jake be tapping in real early with his questions, man. This was at 12:53 p.m. So We'll go ahead and get you out the way, Jake, man. One more time, bro, because you always on time, even when you're not on time, brother. So we appreciate you. Let's see what you got here, man. Startup question. So we're gonna get into some dynasty talk right quick. Startup question: 12 team, start 10, super flex, PPR, 1.5 tight end premium. Is the dual elite quarterback still the best strategy this offseason, or are you guys getting a QB1 then loading up on receiver talent? And then he says, I know each draft is different, but generally speaking, thanks.
I'm
What you think,
gonna.
Coop? I'm gonna let you go first, bro.
I would answer it. There's one piece of information that's missing, and I'm going to make an assumption that it's a lineup league. All right. If
That's
it's
a
a
good.
lineup league,
Mhm.
I am definitely on board with dual elite QB. But my cutoff point for what counts as an elite QB is probably higher than a lot of people. I only have 5 elite QBs. I have Allen, Hurts, Mahomes, Lamar, Anthony Richardson. Those are my 5. And Anthony Richardson's like at the edge of it. Personally, I have him as my QB5 because I love the upside, but I can also understand if you don't want to include him, you just have 4 guys. And I want to have 2 of those 5. That's what I want to have if it's a lineup league. If it's best ball, I want to have one of those guys. And then, yeah, I'm definitely loading up on wide receiver talent because
Yes,
I can
sir.
build that quarterback 2 spot out of a bunch of quarterback 3 kind of guys. Can I get myself the Matt Stafford, Derek Carr, and Geno Smith? And one of those 3 will be my QB2 each week, and it'll be just fine. But I don't want to have any of those guys if it's lineup. And the hardest part is really getting yourself in position to get to high level quarterbacks, because if you manage to get yourself, say, the 102, 103, whatever, like, all right, you've got yourself a pick for one of them, you just need to trade your second, third, and fourth in order to move back up into that range again. But if you did not get one of those, say you did a derby, and what falls to you to choose from is the 109, the 110, and the 111, like, I'm picking the 109 in the hopes that Anthony Richardson falls, but I can tell you none of the other 4 guys are falling to the 109. So then, and now I would have to trade up twice. I'd have to trade up from the 109 to get into that range, and trade up to get from from my later picks in order to get up into that range again, and it just becomes too expensive. And so then I just totally pivot, find some other way to be competitive in the league. Maybe that's just going heavy on having the best wide receivers, maybe that's heavy on the running backs, whatever. Look at the WORP chart. That's how I figure it out.
Yeah, yeah, cool, man. Dang, you got my head spinning, bro. I was trying to figure out break down your analogy, but I mean, a lot of it, like I said, I get where you're coming from, man. I'm with you. I got maybe 5 or 6 guys tops that I look at, as a dual elite quarterback. But to me, it's all on where you drafting. And I, like you said, if you got the 109 and one of those top guys are out of the way, maybe you pivot. And I'm a late drafter anyway, so even if I end up with the 102, 103, man, I'm trying to move back. I always get my guys late anyway. So me, if I'm late, which I would prefer to do, man, I pivot to receiver, and then try to shake back and just double up on quarterback. Nowadays, you're getting Dak in the 3rd round, man. People don't even, he's still putting up 4,000 yards. You can get a Baker Mayfield in a Dak stack late, and maybe clean up with a Bryce Young after that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not elite guys, but those 3 quarterbacks that you could just put in your lineup, and those receivers that you took at the 1 and the 2, or the tight end, however you felt it at the position, they're gonna fill in and dominate. You know what I'm saying? You just need at least 2 quarterbacks that's gonna get you by. But again, a guy like that can get you to where you need to be with a Baker and a Bryce Young, and maybe sprinkle in a Bo Nix and wish on a prayer late. You know what I'm saying? But I'm a receive
I
guy
mean,
off the top, so I would prefer to draft late if I'm missing one of those top 5 guys like you spoke on earlier. So
yeah, I'm sure you would be on board if you have like the 110 that you draft CD Lamb
yeah,
in the 1st round, you come back in the 2nd, maybe you get Amon Ra, and then when hopefully you've got 3rd round reversal, 302, you pick up Dak Prescott.
Yeah,
There
and
you
you know what's
go.
funny? Last year, CD wasn't the receiver one in ranking, so I was getting him at the 110, 111. And honestly, I felt like if I didn't have a 110 or 111, he might have fell to this 201 for most people because they just didn't, I guess trust the process. So, yeah, I'm taking my receivers if it's late, but if it's early, you get that elite guy and then figure out the rest, man. So, we hope you helped you out, Jake. I appreciate you always tapping in early, bro. What we got
For
going
sure.
on up in here? What we got? E, what's up? What's up, bro? So look, y'all, tonight I'm gonna still holler at y'all, but tonight, man, I want to talk about some evolution, right? So I brought my boy Coop on here, and I just look at everything, like everything is evolving. Technology, the internet, cell phones, cars, gaming, playbooks in the league. So I just wanted to give us a little trip down memory lane, man, and talk about some of the throwback video games, how the graphics when we first saw. I mean, it only got to be football. It could be Mortal Kombat, anything, right? A lot of those graphics we saw when we was in the arcades, man, putting them quarters in, we really thought was like, oh, they got blood. Oh, he knocked his head off. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like we really thought that was fire. Then we go from Nintendo to Super Nintendo, then Sega Genesis, and like every time we upgraded, the graphics got better. And now we to the point, it's like, can it get any better? I mean, I'm sure it can, but when you got two versions of a VR system, I mean, how much really is it going to be? You know what I'm saying? So that's what I really want to tap into tonight, man. How everything is just evolving, but kind of tied into some football strategy as how is the game is evolving from when we was rushing the ball like Barry Sanders. Would he
Hmm.
be Barry Sanders today? I mean, we got guys like Derrick Henry and I mean, even Brees Hall. I mean, Brees Hall caught a lot of passes, but your Christian McCaffrey's he get a lot of passes, but Christian is a dog in between them tackles. So I just want to see how it tie in, man, from how the game is evolving from back then to now. So I don't know, cool. What you think, man? If you had to go back in the day, man, to something that you first started with, could be a toy, could be a game, or whatever, man.
Hmm.
What you think is something that you used to always have in your house or play with as a kid that you look at now and you say, damn, bro, I never thought it would be this far. You know what I'm saying?
So the very first thing I ever played was I was probably like 4 or 5 years old. And we had an old computer that was, I mean, it was probably running like Windows 98 or something. And I would play a ton of Goofy's skateboarding.
Mm-hmm.
Like Goofy the character from Disney. All right?
Oh,
Now that
Goofy. Oh,
thing,
okay. I thought you were saying that the skateboarding was Goofy, but I got you. I
no,
got you.
you were
The
playing
actual
as Goofy the
character, Goofy. Yeah, I
character,
got you. I
and
got
it
you.
was basically like Tony Hawk's, it was basically like Tony Hawk's pro skater, but just Goofy is the guy that you're playing as instead of Tony Hawk, and that thing, I thought it was like the pinnacle of like, man, this thing looks so good, it's amazing, and
Mm-hmm.
I have gone back and looked at what some of that gameplay looks like, and it's like, oh my gosh, how could it be this horrible? Like I
Yeah,
can
bro.
count the pixels across the screen because I can see them because they're giant blocks,
Mm-hmm.
it, and and so like I started with that, and then ended up going to, getting a Game Boy after that. So now I could go around on mobile with it, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I was playing my Game Boy, and it's got that. I think it's like 320 by 240 pixel screen. Like it's the number of pixels is like, oh man, like at the time it seemed so good. Like when you could when you had the circle drawn, you almost couldn't see the fact that it wasn't circular and that it was made up of pixels. It was like, wow, just imagine when we're to the point where it actually looks fully like a circle. And now we're at the point where, you got your 4K TV,
Oh
and
yeah.
if you want to
Mm-hmm.
see an individual pixel on it, you got to be like a quarter of an inch away, sticking your eye right into it and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a totally different experience. And and so some of the show we're talking about, like, how does that translate back to the NFL? Just look at what the old NFL used to play like. Look at the the style of the NFL in terms of just how much of it was rushing the football. Just we're gonna bash things together, and the one that's stronger, that team's gonna win. And there was so much of that in the past, and now today's game, it's all about the passing game. It's all about these fast, shifty wide receivers. Like heck, even 2 years ago in the dynasty space, we were saying, "Oh, I don't want these wide receivers that are under 6 foot. Nobody under 6 foot is ever worth anything." And we've just seen a couple classes in a row where all of a sudden these tiny guys like Devonta Smith, a big example, like everyone was like, how's he 160 pounds? He's going to get hurt week 1 in the NFL.
Yeah.
But no, he's part of the new age of the NFL, and it just looks totally different. Everything that you thought from the past of like, man, these guys, just as time goes on, we're going to get bigger NFL players. Well, it's not necessarily that we got bigger NFL players. We got bigger and we got faster. We didn't realize we were also going to get faster. We didn't realize that these big guys that are offensive linemen are out there running the 40 times that the tight ends were running like 20 years ago. And these guys allow the NFL to totally play differently. And it's just like with games. So when you had the old games where you think about the original like NFL games, like your Tecmo Bowls. All right? Tecmo Bowl, every single team had 4 plays to choose from. That's all you had, 4 plays.
Facts.
Now you look at it. Now you look at the modern day Madden, and you have a full team playbook. You can create your own plays. You can go up to the line of scrimmage, audible. You can audible individual players before the play starts. You can do all this crazy stuff like you're an actual NFL quarterback. But back in the days of Tecmo Bowl, we all thought we were the actual quarterback. We were like, I'm choosing my play. I'm gonna snap the ball. I'm gonna read what the coverage is, find that open receiver, and throw it to him, and it's gonna work out great. And we had no idea that we were so far from where it would be, because it felt like we were already there.
Nah, for sure, cool. But you know what? So look, right? You done went to the football part already. I was gonna bring that up, so I'm gonna cook it up a little bit, right? So I actually wanted to bring up, because I see my boy Shizzles, he had brought up the handheld football game. And I remember that. I want to say, man, I probably was like 5 years old, and I had one of them things, man. And now thinking on it, it's like, bro, that junk was like closing your eyes and you just was like moving your hand. Like that junk was trash, man. I don't even know if you remember that, Koopa. I know you're a little younger than me, bro.
I think I was too young to have that for me. Like I've seen it before, but I don't think I've ever played it.
Yeah, I mean, but even when you go to the pixels, right? You look at Mario. Like Mario was literally a bunch of squares put together into a male shape. And then now he's a round character, like a real human. You know what I'm saying? So I said, the way Mortal Kombat, when you look at the fatalities, they uppercutting, jumping up and down. Now you got the slow motion fatality where they cut your head off, throw it up in the air, kick it 3 times. Like the way that the technology, it just went from nothing to something. It's just crazy though, man.
But that first Mortal Kombat, when you saw that guy's head get cut off and it fall on the ground and the little red blood spurt out,
the ketchup blood.
Oh, that was the coolest thing in the world.
For sure. That ketchup blood was real, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like to see how like real high def everything is right now, man. It's a good and a bad thing, right? Because I always speak on this. Just like TV shows. We used to have one TV show or one movie. You might watch one movie, right? You're gonna rewind that tape 10 times, bro. 10 times. That one movie might last you a whole year. Now you watch a movie now, bro. You like, man, let me scroll through. Let me see what's the next one. Like, or you tweeting out, man, I need part 2 like tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Because we so spoiled with them just like feeding us new videos, new music. Like you play one album on a road trip for like 4 years straight. Now, bro, if you're not putting out a new song, a new album every other Friday, you behind in the game. So with the dynasty content, same way. You got one show a week. It's like, but you got to boom, boom, boom. It's like you got to force feed, everybody with just keep piling on, keep piling on. So with the technology that's out, it's easier to access, one, and two, it just look better, man. It's a lot cooler. We got us a graphic, a guy working on the videos now, man. So he gonna take some videos that we just might be talking and cutting and chopping to now adding gifs here and different little effects to the videos, man. Everything is different, man. I know some people in the chat. I want y'all to start naming some games for me too, man, so I can take a trip down memory lane. But I just know it's a lot of stuff that I used to think about back then that was good, and I'm like, bro, I would never do that again. I would never play that again. Like, even for the PlayStation, I'm not sure what system you on, Coop, but on PlayStation, they got the what's that? The PlayStation Plus or something, and you get like 200 old games. Man, I don't want to play no game that look like a sock and a a skittle fighting. Man, I don't want to see that.
Yeah,
bro. I mean, it looked cool online, but do I really want to play this garbage? No, I don't. So, yeah, bro, I just like going down them lanes, man, because I feel like they tie into what's going on today. Cell phones, right? Nextels. I used to have a Nextel, my first phone. The chirp, boom, boom, boom. Now everything touchscreen. But when you had that little phone that slid up and you had the stencil that went, you thought you was the man. You was typing on your screen with this little pen. Now you using your whole thumb, like you using your fingers. Some people talk. They talk and text, especially y'all old heads. Y'all talking text, man. Y'all. The text be misspelled, it's backwards, man. Them old heads will talk and text you to death, man. My father will talk and text. I'm sitting right beside him. Hey, what is this? Man, just type it in. Give me your phone, bro. I do it. So
I remember I had an old flip phone, and it had the 12 buttons, right? I could I could have it upside down. I had it upside down in my pocket. All right. So I could slide the screen out so I could see the text that came into me, like slide it out of my pocket, slide it back in, and I'd be sitting there staring at the front board, and I'd just be sitting there typing away. Like, I don't even need to look at the buttons, don't need to look at anything. I'm just typing out my whole reply to the message, sending it, waiting for that buzz of, all right, whoever I'm texting replied, slid the screen out just enough to read it, slide it right back in, keep going. You can't do that on a modern smartphone anymore.
Exactly.
Being able to accurately type without looking at the screen and what you're hitting, you can't do it because you don't have the feedback of knowing that you're pressing the right letter. You know you're pressing a letter if you've got the haptic feedback turned on. But that's it. You might get off by a little bit, and all of a sudden your text message means nothing to the other person because you were at the wrong spot on your phone, and now your entire text message is screwed up.
Yeah, I mean, even look, like my sister, she on here, she talking about the games you had the cartridge, you had to blow a nose, right? Man, I remember literally, like now, you might take the whole system apart. You go on YouTube, see how to figure it out, to unscrew it, whatever. You used to have to blow on this stupid thing, put it in there, close the top, hope it worked. Take it back out, blow it again. Like, man, those times didn't change. Then it went from that to disc, right? We used to have to get the alcohol pad, wipe the back of it off, pray it worked. But when you put it in, you can look at the PlayStation bubbles, and if it's still bubbling, it's like, nah, bro, this game is cooked right now. So
I remember. So my first console was the GameCube, and I must have played my Super Smash Brothers Melee disc so much. I figured out that if I wanted to, so you could do a 64 player tournament, and so what I would do is I would I would have some friends over, like we'd have like 8 of us, right? And so we'd put all 8 of us in a 64 player tournament, and so like we'd have to play like some CPUs and whatever. But in order to get through a 64 player tournament without the disc becoming unreadable, you first had to take it out. I took it upstairs, go to the sink, you put a little bit of like the Dawn dishwashing liquid,
Yeah.
and you rub that over it and like really get it in, and then like clean it off, like rinse it off with water, and then let it air dry. So like you just try and shake it, let it air dry, and
Yeah,
then you'd
bro.
walk downstairs without touching anything and try to delicately put it back into the GameCube.
Bro,
And
we used to be real technicians, man. Like nowadays, you just go on YouTube. Hey, how do I do this? But back then, you had to have a method with everything you did, bro. And not everybody method was the same. Cause I remember it'd be times you at your friend's house. He like, man, let me give me this. I'm gonna fix it. I'm like, nah, bro. This is how I do it. It worked. My system worked the way I do it. I don't know how yours work.
and every person's system works a different way. You'd think the same thing works the same. No,
It's
every
just like a
single
car,
person's
bro.
is like
Just like a car.
you look at somebody's system and you're like, oh, that's not it, like I know how to fix that. They're like, I know how to fix that, and you try your like if you do your fix first, it doesn't work, and then they do theirs on theirs, and it works every time.
Yeah. So what's up, E? I see you. You said that Atari was your first, and the Oregon Trail on the desktop, right? And it's so funny because I was going to bring up the Oregon Trail, but it wasn't about the game. So I'm watching this show. I don't know if it's new or not. 1989 or 83 or something like that. I just started watching it on Paramount, and it seems like the Oregon Trail story. Like some old Western guys, they traveling from, I forgot where they from, but they're trying to get up to Oregon and get some land. So they going through, they meet the Indians and they fight with them, and literally it reminded me of Oregon Trail. So it's so funny that you brought it up because I just started watching that show last week, bro. So that Oregon Trail on the desktop, though, man, that was one of them ones, man. I tried to play that. And I tried to play it on the iPhone, bro. It don't hit the same, man. I had to delete it, bro. It ain't the same.
Well, and then the thing that you remember about Oregon Trail, right? If at any point you died, you were restarting from the beginning. There was no there was no saving. There was no checkpoint.
Nah.
It was if at any point you made one small mistake and then you screwed up the whole thing, you were done. You're restarting from the beginning. It doesn't matter whether you had been doing that run for 2 minutes, whether you've been doing it for 30.
Yeah.
Like that run was over because of that one small mistake that you did.
Nah, for sure. So, if we had to go to the gaming thing, cool, which game system do you think changed it for you? Like when you was like, man, this is a different level. I mean, I know it's been times where every time we upgrade and we like, oh, this look better. But what's that one system that you got or you saw somebody have and you said, man, this a game changer right here?
For me, it was the Xbox 360 and specifically Skyrim.
Okay.
When Skyrim came out, that was like mind-blowing just because of the sheer scale of that game. Like it was huge. It had so many quest lines, like so many of them optional, and and a lot of them would affect each other. Like you could do certain quest lines that would cause other ones to become unavailable, so you needed to go through and do other you need to do multiple playthroughs if you wanted to hit everything. And just the scale of that game for it being, I forget when it first came out, but it was like 2010, 2011, something like that. Like that was the game changer to me of like this game, this is a different era, having a game that is this wide open and expanse, and like you could just walk around the entire map. Like there was if you went into a city, you had a loading zone. If you went into a cave, you had a loading zone. But if you started at one corner of the map, you could walk the entire length of the map and you wouldn't hit a single loading zone. Like that was mind blowing to me.
So Xbox 360, that was the one.
For me, it was the Xbox 360. Part of it is just because like that was also my first non-Nintendo console.
Okay.
Up until that point, I'd had a Game Boy, and then I had a GameCube, and then I had a Wii. Okay. And it wasn't like a year or two later after I got a Wii was when I got my Xbox 360, and one of the first games I got on it was Skyrim. And I wish that I could see what my hours played were. For the Xbox 360, because if I could, it has to be in the thousands of hours that I put into Skyrim.
Well, I don't know, bro. I think I never was an Xbox guy, bro. I never own one. My daughter has one now, but I never owned one as a kid or coming up. I was always a PlayStation guy. But I think the one that changed it for me was a Dreamcast, bro. When I went to one of my neighbor's house and he had that Dreamcast, and I want to say it was the 2K with Allen Iverson on it. Bro, when I seen them graphics and the lights and the man, listen, I did not want to leave this man's house, man. That Dreamcast, the way them graphics look on that Dreamcast changed everything to me. Like, now when I say like game changer, because I see the N64, that I like the games on the 64, like GoldenEye. I love those games. But when I say like visually, man, that Dreamcast and that 2K, bro, that joint changed everything for me. And then they had what was that boxing game? I forgot the name of it. It was like the little they had to do with the afro and they was in there doing it was like
Mike
Ready to
Tyson's
Rumble or
Punch Out.
something, right?
Is that what no, Punch Out was earlier.
Punch Out was Mike Tyson. That was way back. I think it was like Ready to
that
Rumble
was
or
way
something
back.
like that. But those games, it was like, and I think the NFL Street, that might have been on PlayStation. But I'm telling you, man, that Dreamcast, bro. And now after that, it wasn't many games that I really cared for. But I'm just saying, like, the one thing when I first saw it, I was like, damn, man, this joint hitting different. Now, eventually, I believe PlayStation might have came through and said, look, all right, there you go. Yeah, Ready to Rumble. That's what I thought, Ready to Rumble. I think PlayStation stepped their game up after that. But Dreamcast, to me, set the tone. Like, then they had, I think, NFL 2K. I think T.O. was on one of the games. That might have been a PlayStation one, too, because I think they shared consoles with those games. But
yeah, they overlap some.
Yeah, that Dreamcast was the one. But the game, I say, it had to have been Grand Theft Vice City, man. Grand Theft Vice City, man, that was the one. Man. I mean, San Andreas is the one everybody talk about, but I think that was after Vice City. And when you a kid, man, you in the house, you playing Vice City, bro. It's like, man, this is crazy, man. I couldn't wait to play that game again. Like, I know the Grand Theft Auto 3 get a lot of love, but the New York thing was cool. But that Vice City, it hit a little different, man. So the game for me, not visually, because the graphics was still like their hands was glued together like that, and the nose was like a square shape, but just the game overall, man, that Grand Theft was different. I like this. That Metal Gear Solid on PlayStation, that was tough too, bro. But sometimes it depends on your vice, right? If you an adventure guy, if you an action guy, I'm currently I'm not like a Mortal Kombat Street Fighter type of guy. Just not my thing. I mean, it's cool, but I don't want to be standing with just 2 players. I want to have a whole 40 people this fight. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it depends on your vice, right? For a long time, it was just Grand Theft and 2K for me. Then I got back to playing Madden and stuff like that. So it's all on your vice, man. But for me, it would have to be Dreamcast that really changed the whole game for me.
All right, I gotta ask you, Fizzle, for when you were playing Madden, what was like old school Madden, like late 2000s when they're starting to add in all the different modes and everything?
Yep.
What was your mode of choice?
You know what, bro? I stopped playing Madden for a long time, bro. It just got too repetitive for me, right? And this is why, because I started playing NBA 2K, and on 2K, you buy the VC, you get to create your player. He look like you. I mean, it got some corny scenes on it, but it's like, bro, the NBA is like, that's why they say the NBA players get all the girls because they don't have helmets on. They live like a cool life. Like the NFL players just seem like they just about business. So the NBA, you dressed up, you get your own shoes, your tattoos. On Madden, it kind of got dry for me, bro. I was like, bro, you know what? This would change it for Madden for me. When I moved out of my mother's house and I wasn't playing the game with my brothers no more, I'm not an online gamer when it comes to Madden. I like to be right beside the person, looking you in your face, reminding you of how much I'm about to cook you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like that one-on-one action because we lost that with the internet. So when I started playing people online, man, and then they could quit, your opponent left the match. Like, nah, bro, if you sit beside me, you ain't leaving. You gonna stay on these sticks.
Yeah,
you know
you're stuck there the entire time.
So that's why it changed.
You can put down the controller, but I'm still gonna score as many touchdowns on you as I can.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. So Madden kind of changed for me because of that. Franchise mode. Like I said, man, I I ain't really have a mode in Madden, bro. I just like playing, like I said, next to somebody. I want you beside me because we used to play for push-ups, like loser 50 push-ups. So you don't want to lose back-to-back games because you're gonna be hurting. So me, my uncle, my brothers, man, we used to stay in the house all day and just play Madden. But it's better when you are together. Because like I said, online is cool. You playing these random people, but there's no feeling like that online. I mean, that next to each other, multiple player feeling. And I think we lost a lot of that with the internet. So I can't really give you a mode though.
My favorite Madden memory was, I think it was 7th grade. My middle school held a Madden tournament. Like it was like a fundraiser of some sort where like just a ton of people brought in their consoles with whatever version of Madden they had, and we had like, I think it was like 35 people in this tournament, and it was just a whole bracket, just one person against one person. And we had like 7 or 8 different rooms, like each console set up in a classroom where it was like hooked up to a projector. And so it was like projecting on the screen at the front of the room, and every room was having 2 people playing each other in Madden until we got to the end of where like there was one person against one person. And that was by far the most fun I've ever had playing Madden, was that whole tournament atmosphere of like everyone that entered obviously loved playing Madden. And every person that entered is now, you have 35 people that all love playing Madden in the same room, all cheering for somebody. Like I remember it was Madden 07, I think it was, that had the spin move was really busted if you had a 99 agility returner. And so I specifically knew which teams had a 99 agility returner because I could return about half my kickoffs for touchdowns with that, because completely busted spin move. And I would and I just remember being in the room, you're against somebody. It is so different to perform the spin move to then return the kickoff for a touchdown when you have the person next to you who can be like, "Ha, you suck." To when you have like 10 people behind you all shouting and screaming because you just pulled a massive spin move on them and just busted the kick return for a touchdown. It was so different, and by far the coolest thing that I've ever done with that game.
Yeah. Now, I think we used to do that at the end of the school year when it's like a week left and the teacher's like, look, we ain't giving y'all no work. So people used to bring their systems and we have a little tournaments here. And I remember that in high school. I don't know if we was doing that in middle school. We sure we was, but high school, I definitely remember the Madden tournaments. So before we get off Madden, because I definitely want to bring up Madden, what was your go-to? I don't know which year. I just say overall, what was like your favorite team or your favorite players to run with? If you had to just go with like one team, and I guess whatever team you can remember, who was your go-to or your favorite at the time?
So if I was playing if it was pre-2004, I think it was, I was always doing the Falcons because you had Mike Vick.
Bro, listen, we on the same page. You
gotta have Mike Vick. And then when he wasn't in the game, then it switched to I played as the Eagles because he had Donovan McNabb. And he was like he wasn't as good as Mike Vick was. Like you couldn't just absolutely dominate with him, but he was good enough with his legs, and he made up for it with like the stats that they gave him on passing were really good for like throwing on the run. And so then you could I would just make the way I played Madden was I would run the ball like a ton of times because you could get the AI to like get into the state of they're always expecting a run, and then you just start doing a bunch of play actions, and you just do a play action, roll the quarterback out to the left or the right. And McNabb was really good at just on throwing on the run. So you'd already have him on the run, and then you just throw it to whatever receiver was open. I loved the any kind of corner route. So like there was that route of the tight end. It goes straight up, and then it does a 45-degree out. You have the wide receiver on the edge that it comes in like 45 degrees, goes up, and then curls back out. Like those were my bread and butter routes. Just have those routes and have a little play action, roll Donovan McNabb out to either side and just throw it to one of those receivers.
Yeah, no, I'm with you though, bro. That Mike Vick and Warwick Dunn, man, that was my combo, bro. You couldn't stop him, couldn't do nothing with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say in Madden, that was mine. In 2K, I remember when Mike Allstock was with Tampa, and him and Dunn was my backfield, man. I used to just run the ball with Dunn, and then when I get to the goal line, use Mike Allstock and run it in the end zone, man. So, yeah, man, that was. Look, I even brought up some pictures, right? Just to show us how bad we was looking at games when we really thought they was that good. So, like when you look at this right here, bro, we really thought that was it. Like look at them shoulder
that was
pads,
amazing,
though, bro. Like what?
But
what
you
is
can
going?
see the shoulder pads, like
Nah, for sure. Now it got a little better. If you look at 2K5, man, got a lot better, man. You know what I'm saying? The game got a lot better, man, than what it used to be. But yeah, man, when you just go back and just look at that old stuff, bro, and think about it, I think we forget about it a lot. But yeah, it was fun times, man. And now it got us to here, right? So when we look at the game that's played, how the game is played, like even fantasy, right? When we first started playing fantasy, bro, it was no such thing as Superflex, right? It was no such thing as PPR. It was no such thing as maybe even a flex position. Like it was really just 2 receivers, 2 running backs, tight end, quarterback, and the defense, special teams, whatever. But the flex positions, if you had one, it was like 1. It wasn't like what it is now. Maybe could have been like start 8 back then, right? We started using like 11 or 12 nowadays. So to jump from that to now, everything is just more advanced, it's more heavy, it's more, but we have the analytics and everything behind it to back it up. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like we advancing stuff and don't nobody know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Like you at least got to know what's going on when you advancing stuff. So I want to touch on that tonight too as well. I know a lot of people in here tonight. What we talking about with that? Yeah, Madden 04. We definitely know that, bro. McNair. McNair was one of them ones, bro. It's funny that you bring up McNair. I forgot. I think it was NFL Game Day. They had the demo version, and the demo version was just the 2 teams made a Super Bowl, and I think it was the Rams and the Titans that year. And the year before that, or 2 years before, it was the Broncos and Green Bay, I think. Was it Green Bay? Did Brett Favre play what's the name of the Super Bowl? I want to say he did. Yeah, I think it was the Broncos and Green Bay.
I don't remember.
Because I remember Terrell Davis
was
the man. Like I just remember Terrell Davis was a dog that year. And those NFL games. And just think about the games, right? The football games. NFL Game Day, that came out of nowhere. Like it lasted a couple of years, left. NFL 2K. I think 2K made Madden step his game up though, because when 2K came out, the graphics was better, the moves were better, and I think Madden was getting away with just putting out the same stuff. So I guess they bought 2K and said, "Hey, come on, y'all come show us what y'all doing, and we gonna take over the rest of the game." So, it's just like the NBA. NBA Live used to be it. Then NBA 2K came out. And the NBA Live slowly just kind of faded away, and now 2K runs everything, bro. So, you don't need all these different games at different companies anyway. Really, I mean, I'm not saying sell your company if you got it, but I mean, if your name isn't John Madden, bro, we probably are not gonna play your football game. So that's just how it works.
I would love to see another game come back though, just to have something different than Madden to spur Madden to do more.
Nah, for sure. Because that's what I feel like 2K did. They made Madden step his game up. And I wouldn't mind an NFL Street, bro. I miss those NFL Streets, man. The NFL Street remind me of like the CFL. Like it wasn't but like 2 O-line, 3 O-linemen, and they just running around with tank top.
I want I'd call it backyard Madden. Like you remember the backyard baseball games where you've got all the pro players just as little kids? Like I want that, but Madden. Like,
but
that would be so much fun
that's a
to
feature
play.
They could add on the game though. They just I guess they're trying to keep it too corporate. I don't know, but that's literally something they can add to their game that they
Mm-hmm.
already have, bro. It's even if it's the DLC, you pay $30 and you get the extension. I don't know, but I mean they make us pay for everything anyway. You got to buy tokens. You get it's like the game don't come with nothing. You just buy the game, and throughout the period of this 1 year, you're gonna spend almost $400 just buying extra stuff for this one game, man. Like that's just crazy. So with the gaming, right? We gonna close on the gaming with this. What you think about the new NCAA coming out?
I mean, I'm excited for it,
Mm-hmm.
mostly just to have an NCAA game again, like
Yeah.
one that has, hopefully, it has all of like. What's kind of interesting to me is a lot of the features that they were talking about, like, is stuff like that. Hey, this isn't in Madden.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like in my head, a lot of the same stuff from Madden was going to be in the NCAA game, but it
Yep.
almost looks like that they did it differently intentionally. And
Yep.
so it'll be interesting to see, like, if you compare the gameplay of NCAA versus Madden, like which one's better. Like it might be honestly better to play NCAA than it is Madden, just as a gaming football experience. And like that's kind of cool.
Yep.
But I'm worried that it's going to be the other way, and that they will have taken something from taken
I
out something from Madden
I
that
got
makes
that
it
feeling.
not feel like a football game.
And me personally, I think they're gonna hold back, right? I think they know that we so hype. They don't want to give us all their calls on the first game back. So a lot of the technology, or even like they took some stuff out, like the mascot, the commentary. There's a lot of stuff I heard they didn't add in, and I think they have it.
Mm.
They just holding it back because people gonna buy it anyway, bro. They can literally make it a half a demo, and people gonna spend $60 on it. Like that's how big
Hmm.
the hype is on it right now. So I believe Madden is going to be behind it only for the simple fact that people are so hyped that it's coming back. Uh,
Yep.
Now, how we feel in November after we done had the game for 4 or 5 months, we'll see. But from the beginning, nobody gonna care about Madden, bro. Everybody gonna be playing NCAA. They got the bundle out, I think, for like 150. You can get both games for the deluxe. I might buy that and
Mm.
still never play the Madden. You know what I'm saying? Just to do
Yeah.
it. But it's like right now, bro, the hype is so real on this NCAA. I don't see them um losing. You know what I'm saying? Like no matter how good or bad the game is, how disappointed you are with what they didn't add or what they did add, I don't see them losing for
It's
releasing this
simply
game.
having just modern college players is going to be the biggest game changer. Like
Exactly.
even if so, like I know some people like there's some college players I think that aren't going to be in the game if I remember right,
Yeah.
just because they like won't sign deals or whatever. But like to have even 99% of college players in the
Yep.
game, and you to be able to play, and you have that matchup against the Ohio, like not even Ohio, like you're playing as Ohio State, and you have that matchup against Minnesota, and
Yeah.
you don't have any clue who these Minnesota players are.
Facts.
But man, you get gashed by that running back. Like
Uh-huh.
all of a sudden you're going to learn who that guy is,
Yeah.
and next time you see Minnesota playing on your TV, you're going to be like, I know that guy, I know who he is. And when they start talking about him for the NFL draft, you're going to be like, I remember playing against that guy in NCAA, and man, he just absolutely gashed me on every single run play. I could do nothing to stop him. And you're like, that's how you get that fandom for uh, for these players that you're looking to get excited for that are coming to the NFL.
And you also got to put in perspective, right? We play fantasy football now, and playing this game is going to help you know who's in your rookie drafts. If you
Hmm.
play C2C leagues and college leagues, you get to look at your fantasy teams. Like I don't know how many people that really follow me and listen to me love fantasy, but so this to break down what this show is really about. I love my show. I want to be entertaining y'all, but my goal is for everybody that follow me that doesn't really like fantasy or know what's going on. I want to build you up to kind of walk you to wanting to play, right? Even if it's a league with me, I'm thinking about creating a free league, uh, just for people to join, man. Just because I want you to get into the game, because that's really what the channel is about and what I'm here for. So I want to introduce you to that. But I believe the NCAA route playing that is going to help us on, especially on our rookie drafts. Like you might draft the guy that was on your NCAA team only for the simple fact you know him by the name. You know what I'm saying? Like you might not have followed him through the season because it's so many schools. But you like, man, this dude was on. I look at my college league sometime, and I looked at Vidal for the Chargers, and I said, man, he was on my team. Cade Stover, I had him on my team. So when I go back and look at those fantasy teams, it helps me in real life. So that's kind of like a guideline or like a book that I go to when I think about players that I maybe didn't follow or know much about. So playing NCAA is going to help the fantasy community and just people that want to get back in tune with college. Because for a long time, bro, I stopped watching college. I tapped in with it, but I think after like the Cam Newton, Jameis Winston, Mariota era, man, it just kind of got right. It's okay, I watch it, but those times I could tell you who was in those games and who was in those lineups. But for a good 4 or 5 years, it was like, okay, I watch it on the big games, but I wasn't sitting up watching those games on Saturday, bro. So this NCAA is definitely going to help some guys that might not pay attention or watch it every Saturday. You know what I'm saying?
I remember, I think it was the Saturday right after Thanksgiving, 2022. That lines up for when you have your championship week for the college side in your C2C leagues, and that is the like I never watch college football during the season. Like I can tell you right now, I have like last season I probably watched a grand total of like 2 college football games.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And
damn,
that includes the college football. Yeah, last season.
Damn,
like I don't watch college football at all.
Oh,
but
damn, okay.
But that Saturday, 2022, I checked my team. I'm in the championship game, and I need Dorian Thompson-Robinson and Zach Charbonnet to combine for like 45 points. You bet at 11 p.m. I was sat down at the couch at my uncle's place and sitting there watching that I think it was UCLA Oregon or something like that that I was like I was watching that game. The only people that I knew that were in the entire game were
your 2 players,
Dorian Thompson-Robinson and Zach Charbonnet. That's all I knew. But those 2 guys, man, I was rooting so hard for them, and I would have no idea who those guys were if it weren't for the fact that I'm playing in a college league where I get points for just having those guys. I didn't know who they were when I drafted them. I was looking at the campus2canton.com rankings, and they said those were the best guys, and so I just drafted them. But I knew nothing else about who they were, any of that kind of stuff. And man, it gets you invested into these players. And then DTR becomes the backup quarterback for the Browns. And so then when he's going to start because Watson gets hurt, I'm like, oh, that's my guy that I've got him in that league.
It makes you a fan. Yep. Make you a fan of him. Yep.
And so it's one of those things where like, even now, like the Cleveland Browns backup quarterback situation, they've got like 3 guys that could become the backup quarterback there. Yeah. But you bet I'm pulling for DTR.
Yeah, like, it makes you a fan, bro. And I look at like guys like CD Lamb, right? People think that I just all of a sudden became a CD Lamb fan because he came to Dallas. Actually, I don't know if people played this, but on the Yahoo platform, they had the college league for like 3 years. And I actually ended up with Jalen Hurts and CD Lamb on my college team. So when CD just inevitably ended up in Dallas, it was like, bro, I've been rooting for this man for a whole year as a real fan before he even got here. Now he's on my team. Like, so watching them in college, man, and being a fan before they hit the league, it changed your perspective on the player in fantasy and in real life. So I believe that's what NCAA gonna do for me. I'm gonna find some guys. Danielle Hunter, right? I didn't even know he was playing receiver until I'm looking at him on my team, and I'm like, well, why is he on here as a receiver? Ain't he a cornerback or something? And then when he was catching passes, I'm like, damn, I need to put him in my lineup. So, yeah, man, the NCAA game, man, is going to change it for a lot of people that don't pay attention or don't watch games. And they play the game, and they're going to have to know who these players are. So, It'll help you.
Or you just know your school. Like I went to Virginia Tech. I only know
Like you
Virginia
just
Tech.
said,
I don't
most
know
people don't
anyone
have a.
else in the college
Yep.
landscape.
Yep.
And so just having the ability where like you play through as your school's team, and then you learn all the other schools that are in your conference.
And it's so many schools, bro. It's too many to watch. That's why.
Oh yeah.
And that's what really turned me off with college, right? Because I started looking at the scores. You got Alabama scoring 88-7. I'm like, bro, what is this? Why am I watching college, bro? This is not enjoyable to watch. You know what I'm saying? So that's what really turned me off with college. I feel like now it's an even playing field, though. And of course, that's why Nick Saban left. He realized like it ain't as sweet as it used to be, man. So it's time for me to get up out of here. But
it's totally different now, is what it is. Like that, the NIL has changed the college landscape.
100.
NIL and the transfer rules.
It changed it for the best, though, bro. I feel like, for the NCAA video game and in real life, for everything, really. Man, pay them players, bro. Y'all making so much money for these people to show up, and you give them a free education. Half of them don't graduate anyway, so the education you giving them, they're not even using to the potential that they can. So yeah, man, let them make that money, man. That's what it's about. I mean, if guys like Reggie Bush could have got this, one, he wouldn't have lost his Heisman, but two, Reggie Bush would have been probably the highest paid NIL deal ever, because Reggie Bush was that dude back in college. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, I'm glad we are where we are, man. I love that NCAA that is coming out. Too bad it's not cross-play. That's another thing, right? They're not giving us cross-play. Yep. So I think they got the technology for this
cross-play, and it's not on PC. Like, I'm a PC gamer now.
Exactly.
I don't have a console that's... I have a PS4 because my sister got herself a PS5. And so then she didn't need her PS4. So then I got that from her. But... other than that, like, I don't have a console. Like, I've got my Wii and GameCube still.
Yeah,
but that's it.
And see, like, that could be a tactic to get you to buy a console to play it. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, it ain't on PC, so go buy a PlayStation. Yeah. They on sale $399. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, but I mean, it's hard to justify. Like, am I going to really spend $470 to play one game? Like,
somebody is. Bro,
I'm sure some people are, but for me personally, like, I don't know. I've gotten ingrained in that PC culture of just like, you don't buy a game when it just comes out. You wait for it to go on sale, and so then you get it for like 50% off. So it's $30 or $35 instead of $60 or $70, and
that's because they know y'all gonna modify. Y'all gonna have Disney characters running around.
Oh yeah, the NCAA 25 is going to be completely redone, and all the players are going to be like the front office staff of every school or something.
Bro, it's gonna be WrestleMania. Like the Stone Cold gonna be the quarterback of Ohio State or something, man. Y'all PC gamers is crazy, man. I be watching the videos, man. Ain't no limits to the stuff y'all do on them things, man. For real.
Oh yeah.
Let me see what we get. Yep, that Pac-12. Okay. And that's what I'm saying, man. Like I said, a lot of stuff I didn't watch. I stopped watching until recently. I got you, Twinkle Toes, man. We're gonna get to it. I really want to get into some WORP, man. We got the WORP man on here, the Data God. So I wanted to bring up just like some comparisons to now that we done kind of built our way up into getting from the old school days and kind of built our way into the high technology and what's going on now. For those that watch my show and show me love, man, I appreciate y'all. But like I said, my goal is to really get y'all to run some leagues, man, play some fantasy. I know a lot of times y'all ask me, man, who you think is good this week? But I want you to just play. That way you can see for yourself. It's easy for me to tell you, but if you play, it'll be a lot easier. And this man right here to my left, I believe, or your left on the screen, however it will look, he got all the data for you, man. So Coop is the man with that. And I just wanted to get a little throwback of some WORP, man, or even if you don't want to do a WORP, it's however you want to do it, Coop. But
I want to piggyback off that a little bit and just say, when I got into, so I'd been playing redraft for years, like I just home league redrafts, and I was doing some random leagues and things like that. But what started me in Dynasty was I was like, hey, there's this weird concept called Dynasty. And there was somebody else that I knew who was also like, hey, I want to try out this thing of Dynasty. We both co-managed the same team my first year of Dynasty. I only had that one league, and it was me and him co-managing it together. Now, I did that, thought the concept was amazing, and I loved it. And now I'm at the point where I am in more than 40 leagues. You don't have to get to the point where you're in 40 leagues.
Nah, facts.
But just trying it out once. Like,
exactly.
It's no harm on you to go in, try a league, and if you are too scared to like do it yourself because like you think like if I like this, I'm gonna screw up my first team because I don't know what I'm doing, and I know that like what I do now is gonna affect the future, like all that kind of stuff. Like, get somebody else to do it with you. Like, find somebody that's willing to take the plunge with you. The two of you can split up all the work of figuring out, hey, what's going on, and if both of you agree on something, then you can go in and actually do that thing. And if you can't agree, find a way to be like, all right, this is how we're just going to decide it, but you'll be involved in it, and you can find out whether it's for you or not. It's always about trying it out, see if you like it, and we talk about Dynasty like it goes on year after year after year after year. If you do one and don't like it, who cares? You can be done with it after a year.
Be done, bro. But not even this Dynasty, right? Just start with the regular redraft, just to put your feet in the in the lake a little bit, right? I don't know if that analogy even sounds right, but just kind of dip your toes in the pool, man. That's what I really meant to say, right?
Yeah, find like it. I mean, my first fantasy leagues were. I think it was 6 people, like 6 family members, just going together and putting up a league. And we were doing it on NFL.com, and we had no idea what we were doing. We were just going through, we were just picking our favorite players, and
facts.
But that's what made me, and like I remember at the time, like I was a huge Frank Gore fan. All right. Like I've got Frank Gore on my wall back here. That's what this guy is here. And I remember drafting Frank Gore round 1 because like, gosh, I wanted to have Frank Gore. That was a no-brainer. And then who do I go and draft in like the 6th round? I draft this like rookie that no single person in my family had any clue who I was drafting, when I was like, I'm going to draft this Minnesota running back named Adrian Peterson. He's a rookie. I feel like it's fun to have a rookie. Little did I know that was making me a fan of Adrian Peterson for life.
Yep.
Just that very
that's the
first
biggest key right there, bro. Becoming a fan because you got him on your team. Like that's the thing.
And every single year after that, what I was doing with my first round pick, I was getting Adrian Peterson. Like I didn't care at that point. It was just, I'm getting Adrian Peterson. Every team after this point is going to have Adrian Peterson because I was just a fan of him. I had to have him on my team.
Yeah, I'm with you, bro. But it's a crazy thing, right? So, and that's another reason why, like I said, I preach fantasy to people that speak to me a lot, and they might watch how intense and how serious I am about the game. But like I tell them, and even when Dallas, like, because, I plan on my team winning 10, 11 games a year. We don't win playoff games, right? I get it. But my fantasy team, because they always clown me. Oh, as long as your fantasy team winning, you good, right? Yeah, it's honestly, yeah, that's the answer. Because no matter what your real team does, you could be the diehard fan, tattoos, all the memorabilia, whatever the case. Once you enter the fantasy space, bro, especially you got 40 leagues, right? Let's just say you have 2, and these are your 2 leagues that you love. It's your home leagues. You got cousins, uncles, family members, co-workers. When you get to work, y'all have something to talk about now. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not just sitting there just talking about the score of the game. You actually comparing each other's teams, talking trash, sending trades. So now when your real team loses a game, you just click on your phone and say, look, bro, they lost, but the people that was on the other team got me all the points, and I'm about to win my league today. You know what I'm saying? So it's a gift and a curse because you become a fan of a different color, but it's like, bro, they're not paying you anyway. So, hey, enjoy your team.
I got 40 dynasty leagues, but you know what my most important league to me is? It's that redraft one that I do with my friends from high school.
All the time, bro.
Like,
all the time.
I could lose all 40 of my dynasty leagues, make no money on any of them. And if I won that one redraft league, that makes up for it.
Hey, listen, on Thanksgiving, on the cookouts, on whatever, whatever day that y'all meet up or you see your family or your coworkers at work, bro, you're going to have so much trash to talk because you beat them that they're going to try to change the subject and say, oh, what's your real team lost? Yeah, bro, but what about me beating you? Because this has nothing to do with my real team. You know what I'm saying? So that's why people, to me, if you watch football and you really into football, just play fantasy, bro. And like you said, if you lose the first year, you don't like it, cool. But just join a league. It's so many leagues and it's so many, especially now. Because back when I started playing, it wasn't no YouTubers doing it. If it was, I didn't know who they were. So now that you tapping in today, you got a bunch of people online. But you got us, like I said, you got us, man. Comment your name if you want to join the league. Like, hit me up direct, hit me in the DM. You got the X, you got Instagram that's not really popular with the fantasy, but we got a Discord. I mean, it's plenty of ways, plenty of opportunities, bro, to just tap into the game and learn something, or just go into it blind. Just find a league, join it, and see what happens. But I will say, playing fantasy will help you change your mind as far as I only want players, or I only follow players on my team. Because I get in these arguments every day about, with people that probably know 4 players on, in the whole league. You know what I'm saying? They not on ESPN every week. They don't know them. But this fantasy game will make you follow people from other teams. Now, you have a reason to go to different games. You might only want to go to your home game because that's the only players you know. Now, when you go out of town, you can go to a different game and be like, oh man, that dude on my team. I'm watching this game now because I need him to score me some points. You know what I'm saying? So
and when your team's 1 o'clock game finishes at 4 o'clock,
who really want to go?
Like, what do I do now?
TV off at 4, right?
You turn the TV to, you either leave the TV on that channel or you turn it to the other one, and you're watching a new game, and you know who's playing.
Exactly.
You know that you're like, I know these guys.
Yeah.
And you're invested.
Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night. Now, those Thursday night games that are trash, is 2 bum teams playing, now they get more interesting because now you have those players playing and they mean a little bit more than just watching, the Jaguars versus the Texans 3 years ago when nobody was on those teams winning. You know what I'm saying? So when you're looking at those Thursday night games, Sunday night games, and it's not no good teams, you have a reason to play. So yeah, that's like I said, I know I love what I'm doing with my show. I like taking everybody out of the space of football sometimes, but my ultimate goal is to bring you here to kind of introduce you to the game of fantasy and hopefully bring in more people. And I'm reachable, man. I ain't famous. You can hit my phone, hit my DM. Again, I'm gonna start up a league this year. I'm gonna get a list of people that want to join, man. This is gonna be a redraft, free league, just to get y'all to get a little bit more in tune, man. And this, introduce you to some fantasy, bro. Because that's really what it's about, man. I promise you ain't gonna look back once you start playing that first year, bro. And if you do, then see you later. You know what I'm saying? It ain't that big of a deal.
Yep.
So, but yeah, like I said, man, now that we got Koopa on, man, before we get up out of here, because I know me, man, sometimes, bro, we get on here, it be 2 hours. I'm like, damn. I feel like with Koopa, one thing I will say, Koopa, man, I gotta congratulate you. Because usually when I'm on with Mike or even Adam last week, bro, I looked up, it was 50 minutes. We talked about one topic. I'm like, bro, hold on, man. We ain't even get through the show yet. So at least me and you done got through a whole lot of stuff, man, in this little bit of time, bro. So, yeah, I just want to get into, if you had some plays that you want to look up or bring in and introduce a little bit of the warp tool, bro, and do what you do best, because I know you the data guy. You could break down the numbers. I could just touch on, maybe a good 20, 30 minutes of, or I don't even got to time it. Just go from quarterback to receiver to running back, maybe. And then we just talk about an older player and a newer player at a position, but I kind of want to get a difference of like how the game was played from their time to now. I'm not sure how far you want to go back with the tool, but I'm gonna let you call it, bro. I'll let
I
you
mean,
talk your talk, bro.
I mean, if you want to go back all the way in terms of like pre where I had the warp tool, like we can talk about like guys like a Barry Sanders of
Mhm.
even just a guy that like back before like the mid 2000s,
Yep.
there was one or two top quarterbacks,
Mhm.
and then really what you were looking for was the running back. You got you've got all the guys
We
like
talking fantasy though, right? I just want to make sure that we
well
the fantasy numbers.
so you got I'm drawing a connection. So NFL, like
Mhm.
you're talking about running back primarily, right?
Okay.
Fantasy space, the running back is king
Mhm.
from like when we start playing fantasy until pretty recently. When you're talking your standard fantasy league, like you've
Yeah,
got
bro.
one quarterback, two running backs, two receivers, kicker, and defense.
Yep.
Like
Because
what was
remember, we was taking Le'Veon Bell and Ezekiel Elliott and
mm-hmm.
Todd Gurley like 1, 2, 3. You know what I'm saying? For like 3 years
Yep.
straight. So
It so like going back to 2007, who were your top running backs? LaDainian Tomlinson, Brian Westbrook, Joseph Adai, Clinton
mm.
Portis,
Whew.
Frank Gore, like Ernest Graham, Adrian Peterson, Jamal Lewis. Like those guys, like you remember those guys as like those are the big names you're talking about.
Yep.
You aren't talking like you aren't talking about the quarterbacks that are in like sure you know your Peyton Manning, your Tony Romo, your Ben Roethlisberger, but like are you really talking about Matt Hasselbeck or Carson Palmer
No.
or Donovan McNabb, Jay Cutler? Like
No.
they're there, but
Yeah,
like
facts.
you have to be a big NFL fan to know who those guys are.
Facts.
And
Facts.
the same thing was in in fantasy football. You're
Mhm.
focusing on those running backs.
Yeah.
The running back is king. And as the fantasy space has evolved, as the NFL has evolved, like the NFL has gotten to the point where you have these fast offenses. You have these wide receivers and these quarterbacks that are able to distribute the ball to them, and these guys are shifty and they're quick. And now all of a sudden we're looking at the top quarterback and wide receiver pairings, and the running backs are just any running back can do. Like sure, we might know who the starter is, but it's not a big deal unless you've got one of the absolute top guys. If you've got a Saquon Barkley, if you've got a Bijan Robinson, like something like that. And
Mhm.
you see the same thing with how the fantasy space has changed. What have we done? We've made it so you start 3 wide receivers. We have flex spots. We give a point just for catching the ball. Even if you get no yards, you still
Game
get a
changer,
point.
bro. That changed everything.
And
But go ahead.
we've added a super flex spot that a quarterback can go into. So that essentially means you're starting 2 quarterbacks per week. And because of how scoring works, like you need to start 2 quarterbacks. So all of a sudden now you're at this point where we have in the fantasy space mirrored what the NFL did. We have we have figured out that we want to make the quarterbacks and the receivers more valuable.
Yeah.
And the running backs is the position on the back burner. And
that's what the
been a
NFL
total
did, right?
flip.
Yeah. I mean, look at the
And
contracts. The contracts speak for itself. The NFL said running backs don't matter. So in fantasy, we took that and said, you know what? I think they're right because look at how the game's played. Look at the point spreads and how it works in drafting. You're not gonna get maybe in a startup league right now in round 1. You might not get one running back taken for the first like 15 picks, which for what
and you aren't gonna.
That was 2007. You said
2007 is what I was reading off of. Like,
bro, that might have been there might have been 4 running backs in the first like 12 picks back then.
Oh, I bet. I mean, back then, I bet you like if you're talking like redraft, like
Oh yeah, redraft. I was going in my
redraft. It was
Dynasty
probably
league,
the
but you're
first
right.
10 picks were all running
Yeah.
backs,
Yeah,
and even in
it was.
Dynasty, I bet you the first 6 were probably all running backs too.
Nah, for
Like
sure.
back then, running back was king, and so you wanted to have the best running back possible.
For sure.
And nowadays, we don't have those. Like we don't have teams where they're behind one running back. There's a running back by committee. We don't care exactly who the running back is, because if one of the guys gets hurt, whoever the third guy is, he comes in and he steps up,
Yep.
and they're all the same. And
especially in the best ball league, it devalues them even more to me. So
and what's different is the wide receiver. If you've got CeeDee Lamb on your team, like, that is a huge difference.
Yep.
But if you look back 15 years ago, like, sure, you want to have the best wide receiver in the league, but would you rather have the best wide receiver in the league or the 4th best running back? You want the 4th best running back.
Facts.
And that has totally flipped in the fantasy space now. You want to have the you want to have the 4th best wide receiver over the best running back. Like, that's just how it is.
Nah, for sure. And the crazy part is, like I said, when you look at it, you got guys like, again, I go back to fantasy making you watch players that you might not watch, right? Puka Nacua. Nobody drafted Puka Nacua, let alone drafted him thinking that this was somebody you was maybe even going to keep on your team past the first week of the season, right? The chances of a running back hitting like Puka Nacua hit last year are just like 1 in 10 billion. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of times, the running back position doesn't even get as much attention in the league to warrant you keeping the guy that you drafted in the 4th or 5th round of a rookie draft. So when you get a Puka Nacua from the Rams, who we heard a lot of praises from through the offseason after he got drafted, he was a great route runner and Sean McVay loved him. And we hear that about a lot of players, about how much coaches love people, but it's different when you see him on the field. And we knew from when he stepped on that field, he was a different guy. And Puka Nacua in the running back room, I just don't know where that stands in today's league. And I believe everything you just said ties into that with, like I said, if you look at fantasy, 4 or 5, I mean, I want to say 4 or 5, maybe like, say 10 years ago. 10 years ago, bro, Le'Veon Bell, like I said, Ezekiel Elliott, and I wasn't 10, Zeke wasn't 10. Let's just say 7 or 8, right? Christian McCaffrey, Le'Veon Bell, Ezekiel Elliott, Todd Gurley. I'm trying. I mean, even AP, when he was at his prime in Minnesota, AP was still a dog at that time. And it just takes you to those times where you like, bro, I remember playing fantasy and the first 5 or 6 picks was running backs. Now, granted, back in those days, we weren't playing super flex either. It was like 1 quarterbacks, but the fact
that's just a changing of the game that we've done in fantasy.
I was just about to say
mirrored the NFL.
I was just about to say, it's the quarterback has gotten so important to the game now. Why only play with 1 when you have guys like, I mean, because for instance, right, how we just talked about earlier with the elite quarterback, it's times where we think last year, a lot of people preached, take the quarterbacks early and, you need a Pat Mahomes, you need a Josh Allen. But a lot of people won leagues, bro, that took Tua super late. That took, I'm trying to think who was like a game changer. I mean, even Dak was going pretty late. It was leagues where you can save the quarterback position for later and still win your league. That's how I always do it, man. I'm just not a big quarterback guy unless it's Lamar. But outside of the elite guys, bro, if you wait, honestly, I feel like that's a great strategy for redraft and versus dynasty. And redraft, I'm not passing on a Tyreek Hill for a Tua or Trevor Lawrence. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't add up. Because I can get Tua probably after I get Tyreek. So why take Tua then and pass on the talent? So the running back position I look at as how we used to treat the quarterback position before we became super flex and quarterback hoarding heavy. You know what I'm saying? So guys like Christian McCaffrey, like when you went through that list, Adrian Peterson wasn't what Christian McCaffrey is because he don't catch the ball. But in those times, the way the scoring was, he was a Christian McCaffrey at that time. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
so
yeah.
we advanced the scoring with how the game is played as well, because it's just like fantasy, it's just like real life. We want to see more points. You know, when you join these leagues, bro, and the scoring so crazy, you like, man, hold on. I went from a league scoring average 220. Y'all putting up 370s and 380s. You know what I'm saying? But why not? I mean, why not add more points, bro? It's points per carry, points per catch, tight end premiums, man. All that stuff brings the game to a higher level, and you just have to draft accordingly. So the running back position, for sure, to me, has depleted, but the receiver position is so high right now that I don't see the league changing it. I think we're stuck on the receiver. Tight ends, I believe, are going to even get better at some point because they're going to start looking for these receivers that they can turn into tight ends versus the blocking guys. So
and I think we're going to go through a cycle of where we evolve essentially back into this more grindy version of the NFL, where we've gotten all this speed and all these players that are quick, that are shifty, that can move, right? But what happens when you start getting these players that are quick and they're shifty and they're also like 250 pounds? They're going to be unstoppable. Like, and if you compare them to today's NFL,
and they coming, bro, because you know,
it's coming.
Everybody I know, bro, that has a younger brother, all our younger brothers are taller than us, faster than us, right? That's just how the world is. I don't know if it's the food or what's going on, but the youth is getting faster, better, smarter. You got 8-year-olds working out. They got 6-packs at 7. I mean, they getting more advanced, man. The parents are knowing that their kids are, unfortunately, they treat them like machines sometimes, but in this world, you got to be better than the next man. So if you really want to chase that dream of becoming the best player that you can be when you grow up, bro, you have to start at 6, 7, 8 and really put in that work. So I'm with you. The numbers and the coaching is going to change and get more advanced because the players coming in are going to be more advanced, man. You just got to keep advancing every year. You got to.
Yeah, for sure. And it's that mindset of like these, even now, these college quarterbacks that are like becoming NFL quarterbacks, that like you're saying, these are the top guys. Like they were quarterbacks since like middle school, like late elementary school. Like they've been playing quarterback their entire lives. And like that's just not something you can't make it to the NFL if you decide in 9th grade I want to be a quarterback. You just aren't going to have you're always going to be playing catch up.
Yeah, you are.
Like the guys that have been playing quarterback for 5 years at that point.
You're going to have to be like a scientific experiment to really take off from the 9th grade. I'm with you.
Yeah, and the NFL is going to get to the point where like it almost feels like people were born into playing football. Like they're just going to be playing football from so young that it's like all this person has ever known is playing football. All what they were doing when they could barely run, they were out there in the backyard with their dad throwing a football back and forth. Like that sort of thing is that's gonna, and at some point that's gonna be the kinds of guys that we have in the NFL. And like in my mind, I'm like, that's the next evolution. That's where we're going. Yeah. And then I can't envision where you go after that.
Honestly, they're gonna find it. They're gonna find a way to advance it.
They're gonna find it.
I always tell people this, right? I look at the NBA. I tell people all the time, the big man position is gone. You can be 7'9" right now. If you can't dribble and shoot a 3-pointer, we don't want you in the league. It's the reason why Victor Wembanyama is the number one pick. He's small. I mean, he's skinny in stature. He's lanky, but he can dribble. He can pass. Nikola Jokic is kind of stocky, but he can do more than just play in the paint. Shaq wouldn't survive in the league today because the league is gone. That's why guys like Dwight Howard and them can't get jobs, because that big man stand in the paint and do nothing, that game is gone. And in the NFL, LeGarrette Blount, even David Montgomery's, those guys, man, in a couple of years are going to be non-existent. Unless you are literally a freak athlete like Derrick Henry, bro. If you over 230 and all you do is run forward and run people over, bro, Mike Allstocks and all them, that year is over with, bro. You're gonna have to be Christian McCaffrey or better to be anybody that's stocky and built and running in this league, man. And every year is going to keep advancing to the point. Like you said, I don't know how far they can go, but they're gonna figure it out.
It's always going to
Jamal
change.
Charles in the leagues. I don't know, but it's going to keep advancing and getting smaller, shiftier, quicker, because that slow grind of a game, man. People don't even work as hard no more. People work from home, bro. They work online. So nobody wants to work hard. And the NFL is the same way. Less work is minimal. Fast work is the best work. If you slow and grind too much, man, get out of here, bro. We don't want you grinding. We want you quick play, 90 yards in 10 seconds, because we trying to get to the next, the next game, the next move. So the game is moving, it's advancing, bro. And I always compare that to real life, and everything in technology to real life, to the NFL, to everything we do is just advancing. And the NFL will keep advancing no matter how big or small the people are in real life. They're going to find a way to make us better and faster in the NFL, bro. I believe that.
For sure.
Yeah, I believe that. So look, I ain't know if you. I thought do you have any warping you want to get on to, man? I'm looking at.
I mean, to me, warp is.
I mean, well, I just say this, right? Because this is my first time when you have me on my show. So if you can, Coop, just give us like the meaning of warp. Kind of give us a little explanation, breakdown of what it is and what it compares to as far as fantasy. And we're going to close out with that, bro. I'm going to get to some of y'all questions before I leave, but I'm going to let my boy Coop, man, talk his talk. So do your thing, Coop.
Warp is a single number that you apply, that you calculate for how valuable is a player. That's all it is. It's much in the same way that you would have a ranking of, I think this player is number 1 and this other player is number 2 and this guy's number 3, etc. All warp is it's a different way of performing that same calculation. The difference is that warp is based on past player performance. So it doesn't project into the future. So you still need to do some legwork yourself of projecting, okay, do I think that this player is going to be the number 1 wide receiver next year? But what warp tells you is, I want to have the number 1 wide receiver instead of the number 1 running back, or instead of the number 1 quarterback. That's what it tells you. And so if you want to go find it, check it out, you can go to southharmonff.com, and the warp tool is on there. And if you are somebody that is, especially if you're like looking into a lot of leagues where, especially if like the scoring is different, like right now, like if you listen to a lot of fantasy podcasts, they're talking about like a 1 quarterback, like start 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 3 wide receiver, a tight end, and 2 flex. Like if that's your league, like, yeah, you can listen to just about any fantasy podcasts out there and you're getting advice that works for that league. But if you join a league where you guys decide to make some funky scoring settings, you decide to make it so quarterbacks get heavily punished when they throw interceptions, and anytime they miss a pass, they lose points. And your running backs, they're going to get bonus points every time they score a touchdown. And your wide receivers are going to get extra points at any time that they score an extra first down. Like things like that, that's where warp suddenly becomes helpful. Is it helps kind of cut through all of that scoring mess and tell you, hey, this is the actual value of players versus each other. And it does it by giving you a single number that is indicative of how many wins that player is worth. So it just stands for wins over replacement player. All it means is how many wins is this guy going to score compared to if you had to replace him with somebody else in your lineup. So if you have CeeDee Lamb in your lineup, how many times did you win your matchup because you had CeeDee Lamb over putting in Tyler Boyd? That's all it is just telling you how often that difference actually worked out for you. And so it's helpful in those scenarios. But what's cool is you can try it out, sign up for 1 month, and the other thing is like you don't need to stay signed up year round if you don't want to. Like just you've got your draft coming up, sign up for it, use it, then cancel your subscription, wait till next year when you draft again. Or you can even just save what the warp looked like and just keep using that over and over. Like,
I mean, or a shortcut. I believe you should, if you sign up, you should stay, because honestly, I believe it really will help you. But join the Discord. You know, when you join the Discord, you learn and conversate with other people that's in the community, bro. And it's so many ways to ask me a question. You ask Koopa a question, but now you got 15, 20, 30, 40 other people that you can ask one question to, and it'll all get answered different ways, and you'll kind of figure out which route to go. So joining the Discord and listening, like I said, with the Warp, man, it's so advanced and helping you with winning your league as well.
Yeah, and the awesome thing about joining the Discord is it's probably in the description, is patreon.com/South Harmon. But to get in, $1 a month. That's all it is.
Oh no, baby!
Don't make it really expensive. Like we aren't trying to make it so that way you have to pay a ton of money in order to get access to ask questions to tons of other people that are knowledgeable. $1 a month. That's all it is.
Hey, listen, that's like a quesadilla at Chipotle for the whole year, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's a quesadilla might cost you more than $1 a month, man, to get up in the South Harmon Discord, bro. That's literally all it takes, man. I'm sure, like you said, Koopa, I'm sure it's in the description. Mike, make the description for me. I'll type it up, and I'm sure that the extras is at the bottom. So, yeah, man, tap in, bro. Like I said, my goal for everybody that's here, man, I love entertaining and having a good fun moment, man. But I want to really bring everyone to the fantasy space and eventually to the dynasty. And so all those people that be texting me and calling me and talking trash, bro, we can really talk trash with this versus just the Cowboys talk. That's the ultimate goal at the end of the day, man.
Because when it's your fantasy team, you're the one that's making all the decisions. Like when you're a fan of the Cowboys,
what Jerry Jones doing, right? Because look, I'm Jerry Jones on my team. I don't worry about what the Cowboys. If they win, I'm happy. If they lose, man, let me take my 5 teams, see which one I won today. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm with you, Coop. Yeah, I'm with you on that, bro.
And that's the fun part about fantasy is you're the one in control. Like if your team sucks that year, like if you're Adam and you've been a Browns fan for years, and your team just sucks year after year after year. You know what you can do is you can look down at your fantasy team, and when you're out of the playoff hunt in week 10, guess what? You've got your fantasy teams that are still playing, that can still win a championship.
Definitely. Hey, I like how you threw my boy under the bus, but you speaking facts though, bro. So look, before we get out of here, man, we're gonna get out of here soon. I'm gonna answer a couple got these 2 little questions pinned up, and I see Joshua Jerry. So he said Wicks over Dubs straight up. I'm gonna take Romeo Dobbs, me personally.
Me personally, I go Wicks, and that is just entirely off of gut of what I have seen, is specifically like you talk about like getting into fantasy a lot. Like I listen to a lot of Matt Harmon, and Matt Harmon is a content creator who does lots of stuff talking about wide receivers. That's like his bread and butter, is just talking about wide receivers, what they do, and like figuring out which ones are good because they run routes well and things like that. And he talks up Dontavian Wicks a good amount.
Okay.
And he's analyzed Dontavian Wicks, and so I've got to say, yeah, Dontavian Wicks is the guy that I'm in over Romeo Doubs, just because he's talked about Wicks more than he's talked about Doubs. But realistically, those two guys are probably close to each other. And if you've got a reason to like Doubs over Wicks, like I'm not going to blame you for it.
Well, my only reason to like Doubs more is the touchdown aspect. I feel like Doubs can really score, and he seemed like a touchdown guy. Now I know touchdowns are really year to year; it doesn't consistently happen. But I feel like Doubs has a better chance of catching a touchdown over Wicks. So that's my only reason for going Doubs over Wicks personally. So, well, hopefully Josh, we helped you out with that, bro. Twinkle Toes, we're gonna close out with this one. We're gonna get up out of here, man. So 12 team super flex tier PPR, start 10. Process trade, getting Henry and a 25 mid first for Ayuk. My receivers are Chase, Puka, Neighbors, Ayuk, Adams, DJ Moore, Ladd. Running backs are Pacheco, Najee, Ford, contending on DD.
Interesting. So the thing that is worrying to me about this is just because I don't feel like you need Derrick Henry. Like you've got Pacheco, Najee, and Ford. Like I'm fine rolling into the season with that as my running back room, right? Like, do you feel like you need Derrick Henry to make a difference if you've got those guys as your running backs?
I'm gonna say this, Coop. I like it because I feel like Henry is going to start over all of those guys on a week-to-week basis to me. And also you get a mid 25 first. I feel like the Ayuk situation, man, is so murky. And if you really nervous about it, they just drafted a receiver in the first round. They still got Debo. They still got Kittle. If Ayuk goes to a team, let's just say like the Panthers, right? I don't think it's going to be the Panthers. Let's just say the Panthers. His situation could change so much that I might want to regroup in 25 with that first. But I feel like Henry can give me a consistent enough 2024 season that Chase, Puka, and Neighbors, and Adams, and DJ Moore, and Ladd, they can fill in for what Ayuk isn't giving me at the receiver room. So I feel like his receiver room being so stacked, he don't need Ayuk. And I like the trade, man. I would take it 100% if it's on me. Only for the fact of he has Chase, Puka, Neighbors, Adams, DJ Moore, Ladd. And Derrick Henry couldn't be his RB1 maybe 10 out of the 16 weeks to me. So I like the trade. I would take that.
For me, I look at it like Ayuk in my mind is probably wide receiver 12 to 15 overall. So like he can probably be his wide receiver 2. Yeah. And just because Chase is wide receiver 1. And I think that the new rookie receiver in Ricky Pearsall, I think he is more of a threat to Deebo Samuel than Ayuk. Like that's my view. I think Deebo Samuel's on his way out, not Brandon Ayuk.
I do believe.
And you think
Deebo
the opposite.
Is. I do. No. I'm saying I do believe Deebo is. I'm just throwing the scenario in case Ayuk is. But me personally, from what I'm reading, I believe Deebo is the one out the door. I honestly believe that. But if Ayuk is the one that's moved, because we don't know. So let's just say he need to make this trade. Like, let's just say he feel like he got to make this trade tonight. I feel like the pressure is more, do I trust the Ayuk situation? I believe Debo is the one out, but I don't know for sure. And I just think that Henry can be his RB1 for 8 to 10 weeks versus Ayuk being his receiver 1 more than Chase and Puka on a consistent basis to me. But I feel what you're saying, so I'm gonna let you finish your breakdown on it. And to me, I'm gonna take the trade. I'm gonna take Henry in the 25 first and just have fun next year, knowing that Henry can get me double-digit points every week in that offense.
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand that, and it's one of those things where it's like I feel that knowing it's a mid first. Like the other thing is, the fact that you're saying mid first makes me think this team is not going to be a championship contender. So there's the chance that it becomes slightly earlier.
4,
than mid.
maybe 4, 5.
Like if it's a 4 or 5, like if you told me it's the 25-104, I am taking that pick and Derrick Henry.
That's why I wanted to take it, bro. I feel like him saying mid leaves me within the 4 to 7, and chances are it could be 5. Let's just say 5.
See, the problem for me is I hear mid. I see it could be anywhere from 4 to 9. And if it's 9,
I'm with you.
I don't want it.
I'm with you. Nah,
but if it's 4, I want it. So like
you're willing to take the chance, bro. I'm willing to take the chance, bro.
You're playing essentially you're playing a risky game about with either Ayuk, whether he's the one out or whether Debo's the one out, and you're playing a risky game on is this mid first a 104 or 109?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a matter of which game you like to play. Would you rather bet against the other person in your league, or would you rather bet against a player on an actual NFL team? Like, whichever one suits you, do what you want. Like, honestly, this trade is probably pretty fair if you consider it in that sense.
For sure,
it's just a matter of you just take what you want. Personally,
I was just about to say it's a preference thing. Yep, you're right.
Right. I would rather bet on the wide receiver on the NFL team than I would bet against that other manager, unless like I know that other manager personally, and I'm like, I know this guy. He's not gonna make it good. He's gonna screw it up. If I think he's gonna screw it up, then I'm gonna take his pick.
Nah, for sure. Like I said, me personally, I'm gonna make the trade because I'm gonna bet on me guessing that this pick is going to be a top 5, top 6 pick, and guessing that Derrick Henry is going to average 11 to 12 points, and let's just say Ayuk averaged 11, right, or 12, maybe 14. Let's just give Ayuk 14 out of respect, right? Ayuk averaged 14. Derrick Henry give me 11. I still get a first on top of that. I can still win with that, man. So I feel like it's worth the risk to me. Cool taking that Coop. Coop gonna go the other way, so. Hey, look, I hope he helped you out, brother. Roll the dice, man.
Pick whichever one of us you like more. Flip a coin, whatever.
Exactly. So, do what you think you got to do, man. Listen, I'm looking, man. We at 141, Coop, man. Look, I appreciate you being here, bro. Look, the marathon every Friday, man. I hope y'all checking out Coop. Let them know what you got going on, man. You grinding the edge. You got your podcast going on. Let the people know what you got going on, bro.
Yeah, so you can find me on X at Dynasty Koopa. I talk all about Dynasty content. My podcast is on the South Harmon podcast feed, which if you go to any I've had a couple of people ask me, how do I listen to your podcast? I'm like, you go to any podcast app. It doesn't matter which one. If you got the Apple Podcast, Spotify Podcast, you go to the App Store and you just search for Podcast Player. Yep. Whichever one you got, go on it, go to the search button, search South Harmon Fantasy Football, and that feed right there every Saturday morning, Grinding the Edge comes out. And that's me talking about some sort of what's going on in the Dynasty space. How do different managers react? I'm not talking about the players. I'm talking about how the people work. The one coming out tomorrow is going to be all about what it takes to be the number one team in your league. How many points do you have to score? How many games do you have to win?
Number one,
baby. That's where you want to be. And I'm giving you all the targets to shoot for. I don't talk about any players that episode at all. I'm just talking about, hey, this is what you need. This is what your team needs to do. It's up to you to figure out how to get there.
That's it. And also, just for y'all that don't know, you don't need to be subscribed to Apple or Spotify to hear podcasts. That's only for music. So if you download the Spotify app or the Apple Pod app, they're free for the podcast. The music part is what you got to pay for. So I always get people to ask me that, like, bro, I don't have a subscription. You can literally listen to any podcast for free. It's the music you got to pay for. So there's no excuse. Tap in with my boy Coop, man. And you know how we gonna get up out of this thing, bro. BBL drip.
Oh, yeah.
Marathon people, I'm glad y'all here. Hey, I wanted to kick a little. I feel weird, man, because Mike, this is his jam, man. You know what I'm saying? I hope Mike tapped in with me, man. I ain't see him comment tonight, but South Harmon, baby. We glad you here today. The marathon every Friday, 8 p.m., man. We out this thing. You know how we get down.